Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopasantaye Yasyat Virada Vaktradhya Parishadhya Parasatam Vignam Vighanti Satatam Vishwaktenam Tamakrayem Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheswaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Paramananda Madhavam. The person who wants to embrace divinity must always, in the privacy of solitude, install himself with the indweller. He must control his body and mind, must be without desires and possessive tendencies. Okay, that is Slokam number 10. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi stitaha ekaki yata chittatma nirasihi aparigraha. Now going to Slokam number 11, Bhagavan says, once we want to embrace, once we want to look inwards and go to the Lord, then everything takes place by itself. The procedure Bhagavan outlines is, in a clean place, he prepares a stable seat for himself that is neither too high nor too low, and covers it with grass, animal skin, and a piece of cloth. That's the first step, Bhagavan says, okay, to start controlling the mind. Suchau dese pratisthapya sthiram asanam atmanah na ati uchritam na ati nicham chailajinah kusa uttaram. Suchau dese pratisthapya sthiram asanam atmanah natyuchritam nati nicham chailajina kusottaram. Padangal are Suchau deshe pratisthapya sthiram asanam atmanah na ati uchritam na ati nicham chaila ajina. Okay, chaila ajina kusa uttaram. Suchau, clean. Suchau means also purity, pure, they say, place. So we got to first make sure we select a clean place or clean it. You know, pratisthapya is the verb, so that comes a little bit later. So sthiram, stable, something that is not shaking. Asanam, to seat, to sit down, to preparing a seat. Atmanaha, keeping the body or for you, for self. Okay. Na, not ati uchritam, too much high, not too high. Na ati nicham, not too low. The asanam should be na ati utricham, na ati nicham. Should be neither too high nor too low. Then on top of that, uttaram, asanam uttaram, on top of that asanam, that seat, what should we do? Chaila, ajina, kusha. That means we spread kusha grass. Okay, chaila means a piece of garment or cloth, and ajina is really a skin of a wild animal. That's what Bhagavan says, because those days people were living like that. Now, of course, we can take the same thing, but use a piece of cloth, clean cloth, and sit on it. So, pratisthapya, preparing, having prepared this, okay, for yourself, for atmanaha, for yourself. Suchau dese pratisthapya stiramasana atmanah natyuchritam nati nicham chailajina kushottaram. Okay, then what to do? Then seated on that, controlling the impulses of the mind and senses and directing them to the indweller, he must practice the purification of his mind. Tatraikagram manaha krutva yata chittendriya kriyaha upavisya asane yunjiyat yogam atma visuddhaye. Tatraikagram mana krutva yata chittendriya kriyaha upavisyasane yunjyat yogam atma visuddhaye. Padangal are tatra, eka, agram, manaha, krutva, ekagram, manaha, krutva, yata chitta indriya kriyaha upavisya asane yunjyat yogam atma visuddhaye. Tatra, on that asane, upavisya asane. So asane, on that seat that's been prepared like this. Upavisya, say seated, sitting on that, sitting. Manaha, mind. Ekagram krutva, to bring it with single pointed attention. Even though the question comes later, how is it possible to do, mind goes all over the place and all that. All those questions will be answered, but the practice, the action to do is to bring it for a single pointed attention on the mind. Direct the mind and hold it there at a single, whatever object you take. It's better to take a beneficial object. And so manaha ekagram krutva, then yata chitta indriya kriyaha. Yata means to control. One of the meanings for the word yata is to bring it to control, right? You are the master. Chitta. Chitta is the various mental impulses that going all over the place, right? That's chitta. Indriyaha is the senses, and kriyaha, it senses, and the chittam, the impulses, they go all over the place. They are always acting, right? So controlling that, bring that under your control. Atma visuddhaye, to purify the mind, which means to decrease the mental agitations and slowly and eliminate them. That's the purification, right? Atma visuddhaye, yogam, to embrace the indweller. Yunjyat is to practice. One must practice. After having seated on this seat prepared like this, and with mind focused on single pointed attention, and then controlling the mental impulses and the movements of the senses toward the sense objects, then one must desire. And because you desire sincerely, you'll also do it. What do you do? Practice the purification of the mind by embracing the indweller. This practice you must do. Unjyat. Tatraikagram mana krutva yata chittendriya kriyaha upavisyasane yunjyat yogamatma visuddhaye. Slokam number 13. Keeping his body, 13 and 14 will take. His body, head and neck erect, stable and motionless, without cognizing external objects, with eyes focused on the tip of the nose, facilitating one-pointed mental vision, without fear of any sort, with a controlled and peaceful mind, practicing celibacy, keeping me as the goal, and thinking of me, he becomes spiritually skillful and competent. 13 and 14. Samam kaya siro grivam dharayan achalam stiraha samprekshya nasikagram swam disaha cha anavalokayan prasantatma vigatabhihi brahmachari vrate sthitah manah samyamya manchitto yukta asita matparaha. Samam kaya siro grivam dharayan nachalam stiraha sampreksha nasikagram swam disascha navalokayan Prasantatma Vigatabhir Brahmachari Vrate Stitah Mana Samyamya Manchito Yukta Asita Matparaha. Mana Samyamya Machitto, not Manchito. Manchitto, it is arka. Machitto Yukta Asita Matparaha. Padangal are Samam Kaya Siro Grivam Dharayanne Achalam Stiraha Samprekshya Nasikagram Swam Disaha Cha Anavalokayanne Prasantatma Vigatabihi Prasantatma Vigatabihi Brahmachari Vrate Stitaha Manaha Samyamya Machitaha Matchittaha is Matchittaha Yukta Asita Matparaha. See, Kaya is body, Siro is head, Grivam is neck, Samam, all these three, keeping them in one line together. And not only that, keeping them achalam, stable, without moving, and stiraha, also firmly established, right? Without shaking. Dharayanne, place it and bear it and keep it, support it like that. Okay? Then what to do? First thing done. Second thing, Swam Nasikagram, your own, the end of your nose, the tip of your nose. Samprekshya, to look at it intently, to look at it strongly, look at it actively, right? Samprekshya, disaha cha anavalokayanne, without looking at in any directions. Anavalokayanne, without looking. Disaha cha. Prasantatma, with a peaceful mind. What happens is, the peace starts descending. An envelope of peace starts almost immediately when you do this. And then, just holding on to this peace, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay? So, Prasantatma, Vigata Bhihi, without any fear of any sort. Brahmachari Vrate, practicing celibacy. Stitaha, strongly established, firmly established. Okay. Manaha Samyamya, controlling the mind. Mat Chittaha, thinking only about me. Mat Paraha, thinking of me as the Mat Paraha means the goal, final goal. So thinking only of me as the final goal, as the goal. Then what does he do? Matparaha yuktaha asita. When you do that, he becomes a yuktan. He becomes skilled and very competent in this practice of embracing the indweller. When you start this practice, okay, this is not going to happen immediately, but you become skilled as you practice and practice. As the Bhagavan said in the previous slokam, you yunjayate. That means you got to practice. Okay. Samam kaya siro grivam dharayan achalam stiraha sampreksha nasikagram swam disascha navalokayan prasantatma vigatabhihi brahmachari vrate stitaha manas samyamya matchittaha yukta asita matparaha. So, what happens, Bhagavan says here, like this, with single pointed attention and controlling the mind, the yogi who's embracing the indweller, when he arrives at the end, very soon he arrives at the end of this practice, which is the end of the goal is becoming one with Bhagavan himself. And at that time, what is the level of peace? That peace, that is the state, he attains it. He attains it. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyatamanasah shantim nirvana paramam mat samstam adhigacchati. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyatamanasah shantim nirvana paramam mat samstam adhigacchati. Padangal, the words are Yunjanne evam sada atmanam yogi niyata manasah shantim nirvana paramam mat samstham adhigacchati. Okay. Evam, this way, continuing this practice of what Bhagavan said in the last 4 slokams, continuing that, sada, always, atmanam, one's own self. Yunjan we saw earlier, is bringing single-pointed attention on the mind, right? Keeping everything together. Instead of mind going all over the place, bringing it together to one point. Focusing on that like a laser beam, right? Niyata manasaha, controlling the mind. After controlling the mind, this yogi, this embracer of the indweller, Bhagavan, the one who goes there and swims in that love that he is, nirvana paramam, the end of attaining nirvana, the final stage, the final step. Mat samstham, established in me. Shantim, that peace. Adhigacchati, he attains it. That becomes one with me, is what Bhagavan says. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyatamanasah shantim nirvana paramam mat samstam adhigacchati. Slokam number 16. Arjuna, a person who eats too much, there is no yogam for him. There is no tendency. There is no, in this case, not only the final of Sayujyam becoming, merging with the Lord, but even the practice of embracing, that is not there for him. Also, it is not available for people who do not eat anything. Not only that, in addition, whoever is interested in too much sleep, also there is no yogam for him. Not only that, person who keeps awake without sleeping, for him also there is no yogam. There is no embracing the indweller. Even the desire for embracing the indweller, for the practice of it, nothing is available for him. So, very important point. Okay. Nati asnatastu yogosti na chaikanta manasnataha na chati swapna silasya jagrato naiva cha arjuna. Natyasnatastu yogosti na chaikanta manasnataha na chati swapna silasya jagrato naiva cha arjuna. Padangal, words are na ati asnataha tu yogaha asti na cha ekantam anasnataha na cha ati swapnasilasya jagrataha na eva cha arjuna. Arjuna, atya snatastu, ati asnatastu, ati asnataha tu, right? So ati means too much. We say in Tamil, adigam, right? Ati. So atyasnatastu means one eats too much. Yogaha, yogam, na asti, not available, not there. Na cha, and ekantam. Ekanta means one word, one meaning we say ekanta means alone, solitude. And ekantam also means without anything. Solitude means you don't have anything, right? You're alone by yourself. Ekantam also means without anything. Without anasnataha. That means one who does not eat anything. Na yogaha na asti. There is no yogam for him. Then cha and ati swapna silasya. Sila means conduct, right? And good conduct, bad conduct. The sila means denotes conduct, behavior. Swapna silasya, ati swapna silasya. One who is interested and who's sleeping too much. Ati again means too much. More of it. Na yogaha asti. For him also, yogam is not there, not available. Na eva cha and eva and also jagrataha. Okay. Cha jagrata means keep awake. One who is keeping awake all the time without any sleep. For him also na yogaha asti. Yogaha na asti. Natyas natastu yogosti na chaikantamanas nataha na chati swapna silasya jagrato naiva charjuna. Then slokam number 17. Bhagavan continues. Some of the requirements before we undertake this meditation thing, these are all things that we should do. We should eat in moderation, we should sleep in moderation, and we should practice celibacy. All these things Bhagavan is talking about, right? So, in 17, what he says is that, now same thing coming in 17 now. He says, one who is who eats, who moves about, conducts actions in moderation. And one, in all the activities that he does, he exerts moderate effort. Moderate effort. He should not be workaholic, right? Moderate effort. Then, one who is moderate in sleep as well as in waking period. Okay, does not sleep too much, does not also not sleep too much, keep awake too much. For him, yogam, what happens to him? The yogam is something available to him to eradicate, to eliminate, to remove all his miseries, all his difficulties. That's what he says. Next slokam. Yuktahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya, yukta swapna avabodhasya, yogaha bhavati dukkha. Yuktahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya, yogaha bhavati dukkha. Yuktahara viharasya. Yukta means in this case moderation. In everything, like taking the middle road. Yukta. Ahara viharasya. Ahara means food. Viharasya means all the activities moving about, exertions that we do. There should be yukta ahara viharasya. Moderate in food and activities. Karmasu yukta cheshtasya. In activities, in all the actions, one who exerts moderate efforts. Cheshtasya is in this case effort that you undertake. Then yukta swapna avabodhasya. Swapnas denote sleep. Avabodhasya is the waking state, the wakeful state, right? When we are not sleeping. In both yuktam, in moderation, both in sleep as well as in keeping awake. For him, yogam, the embracing the indweller, both the desire, the practice, as well as the final culmination. Yogaha, dukkha, to remove all the difficulties, bhavati, happens. Yuktahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnavabodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. Slokam number 18.
Uncle, one quick question here. In the yukta cheshtasya, you said the one who puts in moderate effort. There, does the effort imply, there is one thing where we say you should put in your best effort. Is it referring to that or to something else?
Yeah, absolutely. Very good question. Because we also saw in Sankhya Yogam, Bhagavan taught, Yogaha karmasu kausalam. The actions that you do, when you do it well, that itself is yogam, is what Bhagavan says, right? So this is entirely in consonance with that, and your point is very correct. What he's talking about is, yes, you must always do it well, always do to the best of your ability, applying the skills and the gifts and the talents that Bhagavan has gifted you with. Yes, but don't overdo it. Don't be excessive. The classic example is the thing of doing workaholic or working 24 hours a day, even when you're going through internet and looking at emails and all that, keeping on there for 2-3 hours forward. These are all excessive activities. You see what I'm saying? So doing an activity well and in a skillful and in a skilled manner does not require excessive action, excessive efforts. Make sense?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, Slokam number 18. Now, Bhagavan says what happens when the result of this is that when all the mental impulses, see the impulses create all the agitations, right? Mind goes all over the place because it's pulled and pushed. And when that gets completely controlled, and how can it be controlled? Only when all of it is brought to the indweller. And when it stabilizes and stays there, what happens at the time? For this person, he becomes free. He becomes free of all desires. And then he is called a yukta. Yukta, most skilled and most competent. And yukta also means free. Okay, there are several meanings for it. He is called a yukta. That is what Bhagavan teaches in the next slokam. Yada viniyatam chittam atmaniyeva avatishtate nispragaha sarva kamebhyaha yukta iti uchyate tada. Yada viniyatam chittam atmaniyeva avatishtate nispragaha sarva kamebhyaha yukta iti uchyate tada. Yada, when, tada, then. Okay, those are the meanings of those two words that you know. So, yada, when, viniyatam means well controlled. Chittam, all the chittas, which is the mental agitations and the impulses. And how are they controlled? Only atmaniyeva avatishtate. Only in the indweller they are placed, they are stabilized, they stay there. At that time, sarva kamebhyaha nispragaha. Sarva kamebhyaha, all desires. Acquisitive desires, giving up desires, all the desires are gone. Sarva kamebhyaha nispragaha. That person, yuktaha, he is yukta. Tada, then, he is yuktaha iti uchyate. He is called a yukta. Yada viniyatam chittam atmanyeva vatishtate nispragaha sarva kamebhyaha yukta iti uchyate tada. Okay. Now with that, Bhagavan's grace, we will close today. Our time is up. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om.